Yeah, this is something that I wanted to talk about that you just kind of gave a segue into, which is the fact that people discount Bjergsen because all of his rings are on TSM, where they're like, but like Doublelift won a ring with CLG, he won rings with TSM, and then he won like another ring with TL. For me, I don't know how you feel about this. I don't give a fuck if you play on the same team, but 4 of your players change. If you're able to like then win another ring, it's not like just because somebody went to another team. Sure, maybe I mean, in season 6, the coach is different, all the fucking players are different, and then he's able to like win a ring in season 6 summer, like with Doublelift. I don't think that counts against Bjergsen because like he didn't change teams physically. Like if he changed a team phically and he had 4 different players, like it's the same thing to me. Like, sure, maybe
it's material sense. Whatever. I agree. It's just what lineup you have is what lineup you have, and that's what we're judging it off. I agree. The org technically doesn't matter, but I will say that's basically just like an abstract discussion. Like, essentially, I could make cases like, put it this way: it depends what your org is, right? I would say if you want to be on an org and win championships, TSM's a brilliant one to stay on, just like Cloud9 is, by the way. Yep. Just like later, Team Liquid would have been if you stayed on that for 6 years. These are the orgs you want to stay on because they'll re-up the pieces around you. That does help. So in that sense, it was partly because he was on TSM. But spoiler, if he'd have just swapped and taken like fucking Jensen's spot on Cloud9, they'd have built a great team around him too, and he might have won then, right? So I do think, because essentially, spoiler, the only reason they're doing that argument, Dom, is because Jensen and Doublelift did win on other teams. They're just trying to make like but in this area I'd pull you down. But as you say, it's about what team you had and if you won. Because obviously it can go the other way. I actually think, I've just made this case, I think if you look at certain other years, especially in those latter years, the other detail people never mention about like season 9, season 10 for Bjergsen is this is when fucking TSM famously is spending like 3rd most money and they're trying to win the championship. So what they're doing is, first of all, they have Bjergsen on a smaller contract than he should have been because he signed too early with a massive contract, and then they flex that to just get like cheap play. They put in fucking people like Acadian. They bring in fucking people like Smoothie just gets resurrected into League of Legends like after fucking the wilderness to be their support. Like that's, and even Broken Blade, that's just a gamble. You like just get some guy from fucking TCL. Like that's not, you aren't doing like what Team Liquid does this year. Like I'm going to build the god team around you, homie. So actually it can even go against you in TSM. I think in the early days it was brilliant to be in TSM. I think later they actually just abused the fact they had Bjergsen. Basically the analogy would be in some of the years before season 10, like I'd say like season 9, season 7 maybe, the season 6, season 7 in terms of Wild Turtle, like season 9 especially. Season 9 was like they were just doing Bjergsen like they do fucking Aaron Rodgers in the Green Bay Packers, mate. They were like, look, we're going to give you loads of money and you're here, but like we'll put nothing around you, but you're supposed to win, just do it, just win with anyone. And the fans are going to think that because they're going to go, oh, you asked for that. No, it's like it's all bollocks anyway. So let's skip to some other stuff because that's a great, that wasn't really a major point of man. Like here's one angle I would go to now. So one thing I thought was really whack was when you talk about him winning season 7 spring without Doublelift. So you're doing the other side of it, Dom. They're doing that he can only win with Doublelift, and you're doing the like, but without Doublelift he won. Well, here's the problem I have with that. So one of the teams that like I went and looked, who were the top teams this split, right? Cloud9 has that team where they're taking Impact and Ray and swapping them in and out, and they're going the sword and the shield. Like, first of all, like for LCS that was good, but that was already a bit like, what the fuck? This is some like experimental shit that's too far, mate. They had contracts as like a rookie. Now everyone's going to go, he was so sick. Like he was just a guy who, it's still the contracts he is now. He tried to pop off and he had an amazing team, one of the best mid laners, and he was in a sick team and he would look good.
Meta is slightly different. I think it favors him. This is like when Rengar is like really OP and like Kha'Zix is really OP at the beginning of the split, so he's able to play the assassins, and I think that that's actually a big advantage because a lot of like the older junglers just didn't play assassins that much. It was more of like the solo queue players played assassins, and the players that have been playing competitive had played like Rek'Sai and Elise and Graves and all these types of picks.
I'll just quickly make the point though, because the point I'm going to lead into is then you go to the third team. It's P1, Phoenix 1. Not the ones you're all going to go, oh, you mean with high? No. You're thinking of the team. This was P1 where he's with MVP. Zig. Yep. He used to be from season 2, by the way. He wasn't fucking good then. Then they have Ryu. By the way, spoiler, there's so much Ryu in this discussion that you never mentioned. Ryu was fucking washed before he ever arrived to NA. The joke is they even brought him back later when he had no business because they were just like, look, you can sort of just vaguely play the game and you're not an idiot, so just come into mid lane years later. Like, he had no business being on 100 Thieves. That was Nade Shot. Like, he got absolutely fucking fleeced buying Ryu, because I bet they told him, like, this guy was once, like, second to Faker, Nade, like, doing all that shit. Like, he was not a good player in season 8. Season 7, sorry. Season 7, Ryu was not that good. Remember,
this was right after he came off semifinals of Worlds, right?
I think in that team, he was a very average mid laner by the time he got to Europe even, mate. He was probably above average to above. You remember, he could barely communicate with the team.
Yeah, I thought he was. I mean, I guess my opinion.
He was never MVP candidate in EU, put it that way. You know.
No, I thought he was like. I definitely wouldn't say he was like on like fifth. I would say maybe he was like. I think that where they were placing, I think they got 2/3 and they qualified like that, right? That was how they qualified. I think that he was probably about the third best mid laner in Europe at that point.
I think the rest of his team was amazing. He was the obvious weak spot. But anyway, we can put that to one side. Okay, what I'd say is this: so Cloud9 has Ray contracts. P1 has Zig, Ryu, Adrian. Now Adrian's not bad, but he's obviously a player who only played one style, one set of champions. Have I missed something?
Well, I mean, I was just going to say that, like, Arrow is the person who's actually good in this lineup.
Okay, but I've just done 3 of the members of the team, Dom. 3 of the members of the team are fucking not really that great. They're not championship material, right? These are your 2 main sets of competition. This split ain't some god split. Here's the difference, Dom. You can go and find splits Doublelift's one, where the second best team would be one of the all-time great teams, like some of the Jensen lineups and stuff. This split is probably one of the worst modern-day splits ever to win. Look, just winning it's sick, but this is whack competition, mate. Who the fuck's supposed to win against you here? You've got the God team from season 6, just with Wild Turtle.
So then I guess by that logic, 2018 spring should be not considered a great split for Doublelift, right? Like that should not, because
if we're going off the finals, yeah. Oh, I actually think that's even a good argument, mate. I actually think in season 8, because franchising just began and the teams all shuffled.
You have Meteos, Cody Sun.
The joke is that's why 100 Thieves, Team Liquid could be 5th to 6th in terms of like they could be in the quarters, but then just win the whole league. Because the joke is like, yeah, the league wasn't that good. I'll even say, I know this is obviously fucking heresy. It's amazing that Doublelift came through his tragedy and won in the finals, but it's also one of the easiest ones to win, my dude. It's not like it was his greatest challenge and he beat like it's not like he was Bill Braun beating the Warriors when they're like 73 and whatever. I mean, it wasn't like that, was it? I'm with you.
I mean, Paul Belter is like gapping the fuck out of Ryu in this finals.
Yeah. And by the way, I actually think, ever go back, this is an interesting angle. Look it up. I've looked into this a lot myself. I actually think the real best team in that split, and maybe even that year, was actually the Echo Fox team. They just fucked it up somehow. You go watch them, like Dardoch was fucking popping. That was when Hooney was still really good. They had a pretty good team, mate. They just somehow fucked up the playoffs. I thought they were the actual real best team.
Sure. I mean, season 7, there's other things on season 7.
I'm confused. We keep going from season 7 to fucking season 8. Okay. Go back to season 7. Make your point then. Go on.
Well, I would say that also this is to me like Svenskeren's worst split. This is the one where Svenskeren dies. He just walks into the enemy jungle and dies every game. Like this is just and Svenskeren's just running it down. And the bot lane is not looking good either. Like it's like, oh, Wild Turtle and Biofrost, it doesn't really look great. And this is where Hanser actually steps up, and it's like Bjergsen and Hanser are like,
he was an MVP candidate. Yes.
So I mean, I would say that this is like, sure, his competition might not be the best. I don't know if that's like a slight on him necessarily, because I think you can say the same thing for Doublelift later.
I'm just saying you have to say it. You didn't say it.
Sure, I mean,
I'm not hating on you.
I might have said it.
If we rank, oh, maybe you did in the 6-hour VOD. If we rank the rings, this is going to be near the bottom, right?
This will probably be the. Let me see.
No, you can be the bottom one.
The bottom one is.
I think it's this one.
I think it's that.
I don't think it's unfair just because of the competition.
Yeah, I think 2020 is also like pretty low. The 2020 ring. I mean, the thing is like Bjergsen, like I feel like Bjergsen hard carries the 2020 summer championship. Like
in the playoffs for sure, yeah.
Well,
he's probably the best player in the whole playoffs.
I mean, I think he was one of the best players in the entire.
No, he was the best player in the playoffs. I'm saying.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's obvious. So. Yeah. And I even think that's the split where Doublelift, by the way, was the reason they almost doubly got beat by fucking Golden Guardians and would have never gone to Worlds that year.
Yes, because FBI completely gapped
it would have helped to not go to Worlds that year, but that's a joke for the other time, obviously.
Yeah.
No, obviously, I'm saying that. Yeah, go on.
Okay, sure. So I mean, yeah, we can. I accept that point. I think that's his weakest title, but I think that at this time, like TSM was winning with Doublelift, they're winning without Doublelift. I think that the more concrete point that I think is that we should talk about is season 6. How those this is when Bjergsen is still in his prime. Season 6 is when Bjergsen is still in his prime.
The problem with this is I'm going to get lost if we just go all over your part, because I've got a man on a list, haven't I? So because I went by what you did. So all I'll say on that one is I just think it's not actually as strong an argument to go. He won without Doublelift. It's like, brother. It's not like Wild Turtle sucked. He was still decent. And also, as you said, it was solos that carried. They had Haunts still, one of the absolute best. Yes, Svenskeren had a bad split. It's not like there's god junglers around the league at this time either, mate. Like, jungle's always been fairly weak in NA. Who's the best junglers at this time?
Well, I mean, the one that people thought the team that people thought was going to be really good was the Dardoch team with
and I think Dardoch was way better than him.
Yes,
but that's it. After that, you're talking about jokers like whoever was on 100 Thieves, yeah, and all those fuckers, like, who cares at that point in time? Like, semi-washed meteos or whatever, like, you know, or this was a different year anyway. Right, go on. So here's another one, right? I'll just put this out there. Right, you remember what you said earlier about how even Dignitas was going to replace Scara with Link for Season 3 Spring? Then how are you going to show all these clips of Bjergsen fucking, like, styling on Scara and, like, the bad evil genius, the really bad evil geniuses with the players from CLGU who, no, the CLG, yeah, but the ones who got completely exposed. Like, those players, when they came over, that's one of the biggest robberies of checks I've ever seen. Those players, it's a disgrace that they got to pretend they were world class and get, like, all I'm saying is those clips mean fuck all. Those are the shittest teams. That's like me pulling up a clip of Doublelift versus, like, fucking Golden Guardians or something. Who cares?
I wasn't even no, it wasn't did I say it was to replace Scara? If I said that, then I
you said Dignitas was trying to get him.
Yes, to play top lane.
To play top lane. Oh, fair enough then. Yeah, that wasn't the angle. All I'll say is this:
Scara was considered good at that time, I would say. For like the quality of the league.
Oh, and then also the other thing is this: you then did this angle on how Wild Turtle was better than Doublelift over those first, like, years until basically Doublelift wins the championship, right?
Yes.
You think in LCS he was the better player? Because obviously for Season 3 he was. That was not disputable. I think that's mad. And in this sense, two angles. And this is going to be in something that we'll bring up again later.
Season 3 and Season 4. I think Season 5 is like the beginning of Season 5. I mean, I think it's debatable. But I would say Season 3 and Season 4, I thought Wild Turtle was extremely good at this period.
In Season 4 Spring, I actually think Doublelift is not only the best ADC. I think that bot lane is unbelievable. And I think the team is so fucking whack. It holds them down. You can't win on your own just with a bot lane. Like, I think Doublelift was amazing in those splits. In the summer, obviously when they went to Korea, it went to shit. It was pretty good then too. I actually think that, look, you can talk about the playoffs. Certainly that playoff series was shit against you. But for the whole year, he was still really good. He was fucking amazing at that time. Right?
Yeah, he was really good. He was really good, but is he the best player in his lane?
Well, that's the point. Who else is in his lane, my dude? Aframu, right? But this is the first year Aframu's ever really good. It's playing with Doublelift in 20 season.
But he's really good.
Right, are you ready? So I'm going to run through who Wild Turtle had over his years. Remember, because before that, Doublelift had he had the rookie Aframu, then he had the shit Chouster. That's the whole year of his career. Let's go look who Wild Turtle was playing with. He came into the league with Xpecial, far and away the best support. Spoiler, Doublelift wanted him his whole career. Just an opinion, but I'm just saying it's true. Right, Xpecial, far and away the best support player. Then, by the way, he also had Bjergsen on his team at one point in time in Season 4. It's not like you can compare Link playing mid lane for Doublelift, the hard carry Bjergsen. Like, that's also going to make you win. Because the problem here, Dom, is you're doing two arguments, mate. Is Wild Turtle the best player hard carry of TSM? Of course he fucking isn't. But you've done the same argument. Doublelift's a hard carry of CLG, but because Wild Turtle wins with your boy Bjergsen, that somehow counts against Doublelift. How?
Well, I mean, I'm not even saying that's the dynamic. We're like, Doublelift is playing against
It's how we're doing this whole discussion, though. When we're doing this discussion, as you said, a key point to you is a ring when you're the hard carry, or even a finals loss with a hard carry, is better than being the carried one on a ring. And Wild Turtle wasn't carried, but he was probably the second best player on those teams with Bjergsen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is I think that one's a little bit too... I think you just made... I think the Wild Turtle versus Doublelift thing is way more open. Then I'll just say this. Also then, later, Wild Turtle, while we're still talking about those players for Doublelift, Wild Turtle gets Lost Boy, an actual fucking OGN champion. Still a player, by the way. Had no reason to retire. He just didn't want to play in Korea anymore. He came over as a personal friend of the Korean coach to help this motherfucker, spoiler, just to help keep his job, mate. He's such a nice guy. He came to help this guy keep his job. Like... There's never been a player like that Doublelift just came in. Unless he got Core JJ years later. And even then, we didn't know Core JJ was a monster at the time, except for, obviously, the year on Samsung. Obviously, before that, he was an 86. So all I'm saying is that's a pretty good fucking... I'd love to play with Lost Boy in my bot lane. Like, all I'm saying is he had way better supports overall, in my opinion. Special and Lost Boy versus, like, 1 year of good Aframu.
Yeah, I mean, so... wait, can you restate your point? Because I think that Aframu is actually like better than Lust Boy in Season 4. I think that Season 4, like I think that in Season 4, the way I viewed it is I felt like Aframu had like a choking problem because when they played against us, they didn't look like Afro and Doublelift. They were just losing lane. But yeah,
I was going to get to that in a minute, but yeah, we can get there in a minute when we get to the Season 4 stuff that you all brought up. But yeah, just basically, I just think genuinely that's the angle people don't point in there, which is the supports. They act like it's a 1v1 role. Spoiler, that'll come back later for jungle, don't worry. Then there's a quick one I want to say, which is when you say that line, because again, I'm just doing context there, I'm the prosecutor. When you say Doublelift has, Bjergsen has the fucking odd one. Well, I'll tell you what takes all of that away. Is if you're Doublelift and you're playing with knee and tonsil roll swap top. If later on you have fucking Seraph. Seraph never had any business being in the league. I know Monty has that great story about how he thought he found him. And all. He just got tricked by someone, dude. He got tricked by someone. That player never had any business. And also, it wasn't the first choice. They were trying to get, everyone knows the story, fucking...
Zoro Zero.
Yeah, Zoro Zero or Kevin, the whole thing. Everyone knows that one. So the problem with that one is I'm just saying, I can just say also Doublelift had some pretty whack teammates too. True?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
we have to debate that, do we?
Yeah. Sure.
Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.